It is Stugotz and Company, presented by FanDuel and the FanDuel Sportsbook. What a game last night. Mikey A is off. Mikey A is traveling. He is headed to Ann Arbor for the Michigan and Washington game tomorrow. That seemed like a better idea before the season started. But Mikey A is headed there. Israel will join us later in the show. The Bear, Chris Felica, going to join us. And we'll have Mina Kimes later on God Bless Football. Taylor, what'd you make of an exciting game, an AFC North game last night? Cincinnati and the Steelers, 81 years of quarterback play on display last night. How about that? That was great.
So, Stu, you know how they say Father Time is undefeated?
Yes.
Father Time took a loss yesterday because you wake up today, you check ESPN, and the three people that ESPN are talking about right now, it's Joe Flacco, it's Aaron Rodgers, and it's Max Scherzer absolutely dealing for the Blue Jays. If you would have if you would have told me those three names were going to be the stars, I would be like, wow.
Yeah.
We're back in 2014, 2015.
I'm shocked to hear that baseball's still going on, to be honest with you.
Yeah, the Dodgers are going to win it all.
Who's he pitching for now?
The Jays. He's a Jay.
It can only be one of four teams, right? So he threw a gem for the Jays last night?
Yes. Yeah.
Wow, Scherzer, huh?
And they try to take him out of the game in the fifth inning. He was 1 out away from getting out of the fifth inning, and the manager's coming out. And the second the manager starts walking out, Scherzer starts barking at the Blue Jays manager, lets him stay in the game, gets the final out. And you know how people say, like, if this guy didn't become a professional athlete, like what would his profession be? Max Scherzer, in another life, he's a serial killer. You cannot convince me otherwise.
I agree. Hunter Pence is another one, just because his eyes bulge out of his head. You're doing that with the eyes with Scherzer, right? And put it on the poll. If Scherzer wasn't pitching, would he be a serial killer? Because I agree with you. The S in Scherzer stands for serial. How about that?
Yeah, so it's the combination of the eyes and his demeanor, because when the Blue Jays manager's coming out to get him, I was scared for the Blue Jays manager. That's how loud Scherzer was barking back at him, to be like, hey, don't even think about taking me out of this game right now.
You can give me a million guesses. We could sit here till the end of time, and I would not be able to guess who the Blue Jays manager is. I haven't known a Blue Jays manager since Cito Gaston. I mean, I have no idea who you're talking about, but I can absolutely see Scherzer telling this Scherzer. I called him Scherzer, telling that guy, barking at that guy. You're using the right word, the right adjective. Barking at that guy. Get back in the dugout. I'm finishing the fifth. That's Max Scherzer. That's what he does. That's why he's a horse. I mean.
So I was fairly confident the Blue Jays manager was John Schneider because I watch a lot of baseball. But even when I was explaining the story, I kept going with the Blue Jays manager because I wasn't entirely sure that it was John Schneider. But the days of like knowing baseball managers by heart, those are gone, right? Like Carlos Tosca's not walking through that door.
No, Bobby Cox is not walking through that door. I mean, just days. Yes, there was a time where if you would name a team, I would know their manager instantly. It's kind of like the NFL at coaching now. The NFL has taken over. That's what it's done. By the way, you realize in that ALCS that a home team has not won a game yet. It's all road teams. Road teams have won all 4 of the 4 games played in that series. And you, of course, know what that means, right, Taylor?
It's the rare series that just keeps starting.
It never ends. It just keeps starting. Over and over and over and over again. So game 5, they'll head back to Seattle. Perhaps the series will start. I don't know.
So you mentioned Cito Gaston. You haven't known a Blue Jays manager since Cito Gaston. And I'm just finding out now, Cito Gaston was the manager from 92 to 97, but then he also had a second stint 2008 to 2010. I'm assuming that you meant the 90 stint you remember.
The last great run for the Blue Jays. Yes, they won World Series. Joe Carter hit a home run. Cito Gaston was the manager. Joe Carter hit a legendary home run.
Touch them all, Joe.
And then And then I believe Cito Gaston came back because Toronto was really bad for a long time, and they were desperate. They wanted to bring a name that reminded them of their glory days, and so they brought Cito Gaston back for a second run as Blue Jays manager, and I think allowed Cito Gaston to retire as a Toronto Blue Jay. I don't know.
So Cito Gaston replaced John Gibbons in 2008, and what I'm realizing about the Blue Jays, that was Cito Gaston's second run. After Gaston leaves in 2010, they go to John Farrell, and then after John Farrell, they go back to John Gibbons. So the Blue Jays,
really?
The Blue Jays love a retread manager.
They really do. Who is the manager now?
It's John Schneider.
Oh, it is Schneider.
Yes.
Okay. So it's Gaston, Gibbons, or Schneider, essentially. I mean, just next time you ask me who the Blue Jays manager is, if I guess one of those three, I'll probably be right? Is Cito Gaston still with us? Did I kill Cito Gaston? I have no idea. Oh, boy, that's a major find if I did. We'll get to the football in a second. Again, the Bear going to join us, Chris Felica, coming up to get us ready for a college football weekend, a great college football weekend. Talk some NFL as well. Are you checking if Cito Gaston is still amongst us?
He's still with us.
Good.
81.
Good. Really?
81.
A young 81 Cito Gaston,
Yep.
right? You have images of him?
This is the first time I'm seeing Cito Gaston for the most part.
Did you know the name Cito Gaston before we started today's show?
No, not really.
I'm teaching you things.
Yeah.
I think he won 2 World Series, did he not? The Blue Jays won 2, right?
Back to back.
Yeah, back to back. Taylor, if I tell you the Baltimore Ravens are going to win the AFC North, would you tell me I'm crazy?
Before yesterday, I would have said yes. But now that you're looking at like who the Steelers have coming up on their schedule, and that Steelers defense is normally what they hang their hat on.
Yes.
The fact that Joe Flacco can kind of come in off the street and just absolutely sling the ball is it's not the best sign for the Steelers team.
No, and it's why, we discussed this yesterday with Chris Sims, and no one really paid much attention to it at the beginning of the week. But we did bring it up to Sims yesterday, where Mike Tomlin, upon hearing that the Cleveland Browns, who named Joe Flacco their opening day starter, okay, that the Cleveland Browns decided to trade Joe Flacco to the Bengals in exchange for a 5th-round pick inside the division. And Mike Tomlin was scratching his head saying, why would you do that? That was your opening day starter. Why would you trade him inside the division to Cincinnati? Well, now you have your answer. I mean, the Browns don't care about the Pittsburgh Steelers, and the Browns made the Bengals better, and they got a 5th-round pick for a guy who was 40 years old. So why not? Why not do it? I love it, but that's why Mike Tomlin made those comments, because he knows his defense, and he knows with those wide receivers, a competent quarterback, which Jake Browning is not, a competent quarterback can go over 300 yards with a couple of touchdowns and get a win against the Pittsburgh Steelers. It's crazy, man.
A lot of people thought that when Mike Tomlin made those comments, it was just kind of, just what you say in a press conference when a team in your division trades another player to another team in the same division. But then you're thinking about it and you're like, Mike Tomlin really doesn't really speak out that often.
Right.
He must have known something. And Stu, I have 2 competing stats for you.
He knows his defense. Yeah. And he knows Flacco still has a chooch. Anyway, go ahead.
I have 2 competing stats for you, and you tell me which one you think is more impressive going into the weekend.
Right.
Mike Tomlin is still searching for his first road victory on Thursday Night Football against an AFC North opponent. 0-7.
0-7. Okay, that's pretty good. I mean,
the competing stat, Joe Flacco with the Bengals, 550 plus passing yards, 5 plus passing touchdowns, 0 interceptions, 60 plus completions, a 65.0 completion percentage. No other player in NFL history has reached those marks through 2 starts with any single team.
The second one. That's why I drove 15 minutes back from wherever I was when you told me that Flacco was going. At the time, I thought he was going to the Ravens. He ended up going to the Bengals. That's why I drove 15 minutes back to say this. Joe Bacco. That was the only reason. That's why I did it. Otherwise, you know me, Taylor. If I'm 15 minutes removed from my house, it better be Tom Brady's coming back to the NFL for me to drive home to deliver something for you. But I did it for Joe Flacco because I knew he was Joe Bacco. I mean, how about that? And it makes you wonder, is it Joe Burrow? Or is it Jamar Chase and T. Higgins? I mean, what do you think? I mean, Flacco's the MVP through 2 weeks.
I think a lot of people, when you get the Aaron Rodgers, Joe Flacco, the Icy Hot Bowl, the Bingo Bowl, the Unk Bowl, whatever people want to call it.
It was a great game, by the way.
Yes.
They were both great. Yes.
I think when you get the Rodgers-Flacco matchup on paper, people were like, oh, this might be sad. That game was far from sad. It was two quarterbacks that were turning back the clock and looking like they still had a lot left in the tank.
It was a great game, and both quarterbacks played really well. Both defenses are lousy. What'd you make of T. Higgins' decision there? He could have scored a touchdown. So the Steelers, I believe, they've gone up one at this point. Aaron Rodgers hits Freiermuth for the big touchdown. Aaron Rodgers is back. Aaron Rodgers is feeling good about himself. The Steelers are thinking they're 5-1, and I'm thinking, no, you left Joe Flacco too much time. That's all I'm thinking when that play kind of happened. And you know that Aaron Rodgers was – that's not the way the Steelers wanted to score on that final drive. Now, you take the touchdown because the touchdown was available to them, and Rodgers made a great play, and Freiermuth caught the ball, had to run like 35, 40 yards to get himself into the end zone. So, but that's not the way – like if you asked the Steelers before the drive, how do you want this drive to end, they would tell you we wanted to end with 6 seconds left on the clock.
Yeah.
That was not the case. So they left Flacco too much time. Flacco throws a beautiful ball to T. Higgins. He catches that ball. He could have scored a touchdown. He ends up sliding on the 5 or 6 yard line simply because he wanted to run out the clock, let McPherson kick the game-winning field goal, and that's exactly what happened. That was a great play by T. Higgins. It was.
Yeah, as somebody who used to dabble in wide receiver play back in the day,
yeah,
it goes against everything you're taught as a wide receiver.
How do you do it? How do you do it?
Like when you think of wide receivers, really, really good wide receivers, they're selfish. They want to score.
Yeah.
They want all the praise. They want all the attention. For T. Higgins to catch that ball in stride and think in the moment, hey, it's smarter for me to go down here. Like, yes, I could get the touchdown, but if I go down here, the game is mathematically over. Maybe the Steelers get the ball back like they did with 7, 8 seconds left. But it goes against everything that you're taught as a wide receiver to go down in that situation.
I mean, it goes against everything you're taught as a human being. I mean, when something's there, go get it. Don't take less, take more, right? Be selfish. I'm not saying that's what we're taught as human beings, but most human beings are selfish. If there's 7 points for them, why would they only take 3, right? That was a great play by T. Higgins. I don't think he thought that in the moment, though. We talked to the Northwestern coach. Their running back did a similar thing where he took a knee at the 1, right? And he said we discussed it with him right before he went back out on the field and told him, hey, if you break free here, take a knee at the 1, 2, 3 so we can run out the clock. I'm certain they told anyone on that offense because the way that game was going, Taylor, anyone could have scored at any time. The defenses were so bad. I'm certain, I would have to think that Zach Taylor, the offensive coordinator, the coaching staff, they went over that with the entire Bengals roster or, the guys on offense before that play was even snapped. In fact, my guess is Joe Flacco, a cagey vet, said, hey, if anyone breaks free, take a knee at the 5. That's why you signed Joe Flacco,
That's exactly why. I admittedly
not the 3 touchdowns, no interceptions. I'll put this on the poll, by the way. Is Joe Flacco the last 2 weeks? Joe Flacco MVP. Put that on the poll, just like that.
Admittedly, when Joe Flacco got traded to the Bengals, I kind of poo-pooed it just because the Bengals have a bad offensive line. You don't really think of Joe Flacco as this great mobile quarterback, although that 112-yard run he had was he was moving on that 12-yard run.
What was more impressive, the 12-yard run by Joe Flacco, put this on the poll, or Aaron Rodgers throwing the ball 60 yards?
Oh, my God.
Are you kidding me? Jesus Christ.
I don't know how we could implement that into a game scenario every week to ensure that we get that Hail Mary toss.
Right.
But there has never been anybody like Aaron Rodgers when it comes to throwing the Hail Mary, where they're backed up on like the 30-yard line. There's like 7 seconds. You're like, okay, this is probably like the hook and ladder play. And then you're thinking about the Steelers personnel and you're like, oh, wait, they have Rodgers. He might be able to get this to the end zone. And then he throws that ball up and you're seeing where all the defenders are going. And you're like, this actually does have a chance.
Yeah, DK Metcalf was right there. I mean, he was. I think because Rodgers got injured his first year with the Jets and then no one paid attention to his second year with the Jets, I think people are still wondering, hey, can Aaron still do that? Like in his prime, Aaron could drop back. He could throw it 70, 75 yards. Whatever he had to do to reach the end zone on a Hail Mary play, he could do. But I think when he took that snap, you were thinking to yourself, weren't you, Taylor? Hey, can Aaron still do that? And then he did it. And it was almost complete. And had he completed that pass, I would have quit football. Seriously, I was so happy Aaron Rodgers lost that game last night. I was so happy that Joe Flacco beat him because I'm just so tired of watching the guy I thought the Jets were going to get play for Pittsburgh. I'm just so tired of it, man. Oh, my God, I was so happy.
If you're building the perfect quarterback, it's like Lamar Jackson's speed, Josh Allen's build, and if you have to take one thing from each quarterback, what you're taking from Rodgers is his ability to throw a Hail Mary, right?
Yeah, you're taking, wow, that's a great question. Oh, man, you're taking Baker's guts.
Yeah. Do you want Lamar's speed or Kyler Murray's speed? Maybe Murray's shiftiness, Lamar's speed.
Let me think about this for a second. So you're taking all the best attributes from different quarterbacks and putting them together? So this quarterback is kind of like a quarterback who, if you need him to turn into Aaron Rodgers for a Hail Mary, Correct. He could turn into Aaron Rodgers just to throw the Hail Mary.
Correct.
Okay. So and now I'm thinking.
This quarterback, imagine a 4th and 1, he turns into Jalen Hurts. So then you have the tush push available.
So then you have Jalen Hurts. I would take the ability to gain a yard by Jalen Hurts. Wow, Tom Brady, though. Tom Brady.
Oh, I thought this was
take Tom Brady fourth quarter drive, right?
Yeah.
I would take Baker's guts. I would take Marino's arm, just Marino's arm. Okay, just his arm. I would take Flacco's guile. I don't know what that means. I would take nothing from Mahomes, though.
Yeah,
Isn't that crazy.
I'm trying to think what you would take from him. Maybe like the unorthodox throws.
Ah, yes, the trick plays.
Yeah, the plays where they're spinning around in circles. And
he gets complimented for standing there like a piñata by Chris Collinsworth. Because any other quarterback does that and gets hurt, Chris Collinsworth's going to rip his head off. But Mahomes does it. What other quarterback does that? Stupid thing to say. I'm trying to think whose legs I would take. I'm not certain I would take Lamar Jackson.
Well,
Steve Young, perhaps.
If you're going all time, I think you have to take Mike Vick.
Yeah, I would take Michael Vick's legs. I might take his arm, too. I have to be honest with you. Chooch. A cannon.
It does become a conversation.
Does Jamar Chase, on a field full of world-class athletes, Jamar Chase stands out, right?
So,
think about that. That is crazy, Taylor. I remember the reason I use that line is one time Dominique Foxworth, he was at the Ravens. This is when Lamar Jackson was early in his career. And I asked him, I was texting with Dominique, who was at Ravens camp. And I was asking him how Lamar looked. And he said, Stugotz, do you know how hard it is on a field full of world-class athletes for anyone to stand out? And he stands out. And I feel like Jamar Chase, there is a field full of world-class athletes, and that guy looks like the best of all of them. Like, he looks like a different kind of athlete, like he came from another planet. That's like just wearing a football uniform. That guy looks like the best, just physically, okay? And maybe he is. He was targeted 20-something times last night. He had a great game. Yep. But Jamar Chase just looks different. Like, that's T. Higgins looks like an alien, and Jamar Chase looks like a way better athlete. Yeah. It's just weird to me, you know?
Football, we we tend to overcomplicate football a lot of times with like how in depth like schemes are and everything that goes into like the different personnel groups.
Yeah,
sometimes football is as simple as, hey, Jamar Chase is your best player. Throw to him 23 times. Target him 23 times. Let him get 16 catches, 161 yards. The most targets we've seen in a single game over the last 15 seasons.
Wow.
And it's crazy. It's crazy that it speaks to how good an athlete Jamar Chase is, where if you're the Steelers, you know Joe Flacco wants to throw the ball to Jamar Chase. But if you're the Steelers, you also know when Jamar Chase gets 16 catches and 23 targets, hey, you can know this is their 1, 2, 3 game plan. You're not stopping. If they want to find,
they had Jalen Ramsey on them.
If they want to find ways to get Jamar Chase the ball, Jamar Chase is going to get open.
Right. Taylor, think about this. Okay. Give me those stats again.
23 targets, 16 catches, 161 yards, and a touchdown.
He did that against the second best athlete on the field who was covering him one-on-one for most of the game. That's insane. The Bear, Chris Felica, next.